Morning. How are you?
Morning.
Morning.
How we doing?
Good. You probably heard the unfortunate reports about the jewelry being stolen from the Colorado.
I was just told walking over. So, awful. I think we just said that the Pasadena police were looking into it, but I literally just found out when they was.
But just that something like that could happen during a game. With,
Yeah, that's awful for anybody. You would think when you go anywhere that your valuables are safe. I don't know anything more than I literally just found out a second ago before I walked over here. So.
You looked at the game footage, I would imagine, over the weekend. Do you know if Latu had 2 sacks or 3 sacks? You don't probably keep up that.
But I didn't count his tackles, so I couldn't give you the exact answer.
Sounds like there was some 3. Okay.
3?
Okay. The book said 2, so we had 3, but okay, we'll take 3.
Did they change that? Okay.
So 3.
Sports information nods. Ethan's been very steady these last couple of weeks.
He has.
What does it say about him to kind of wait his time, come in and play well, and be the leader that he has for this team?
He's done an unbelievable job, and we've said since the beginning we felt like we had depth at that position, and I think it says a lot about Ethan though as a person, his resiliency, his ability to stick to what he does, fundamentals. He never wavered in practice, never wavered in meetings. He was always competing like he was the starting quarterback, and when his opportunity came, I think he's done a great job. I think he was 20 of 28 against Stanford. He was 20 of 27 last week against Colorado. He's been really efficient with the ball. He's kept drives alive with his legs. I don't know if people give him enough credit on how athletic he is. He can move, and he's made really good decisions, and that's the one thing that you have to be a good decision maker at quarterback, and Ethan's doing a really good job of that right now.
How important is it, you mentioned keeping plays alive with his legs, to have that dimension in the offense to be able to do that?
It's huge. I think it's, defense can have answers for route combinations and things like that, and then as the pass rush starts to get home, the quarterback's ability to make up the unscheduled plays are, I think, what's kind of separates the good from the great, no matter what level you're at. Probably the best quarterback right now in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes, and that's the best thing he does is he makes those unscheduled plays and keeps things alive. Guys that can keep things alive and keep the play moving when it doesn't go exactly as designed is things that break your back defensively. I can tell you games we've played here where it's been the quarterback keeping the play alive that's killed us. We've done a good job on defense, but we didn't finish it off with the quarterback. So I think that's one of the differences of our defense this year is they're finishing off on the defensive side of the ball and not allowing those unscheduled plays. So it's a huge deal if you have a quarterback that has the ability to do that.
Arizona's quietly become one of the better teams in the Pac-12. What are they doing well?
Yeah,
right
I wouldn't
now?
say quietly. I mean, I would watch them maybe what's out there, but they've done a really good job. I think offensively they have a good scheme. They've used 2 quarterbacks, Jay Delora and Noah's doing a great job. For a young kid to fit in what Jed's doing, I think Jed's doing a fantastic job of bringing him along, and kids making plays all over the field. They have one of the top receivers in the country, McMillan, who's a handful. He was a top recruit coming out, played at Servite, and he's a heck of a player. Their running game is really clicking right now. They're running at a really, really high clip. So I think they're really balanced on the offensive side of the ball. You can't gang up on one side because they can run and pass both effectively. But they've done an outstanding job. They played Washington to a one-score game. They lost triple overtime to Southern Cal. They had a big win at Washington State. They beat Oregon State. So we're very well aware of what Arizona's doing right now. I think a lot of people in the country are too.
How nice is it to see Martell Irby, given his issues, find a home and come back and play?
Yeah, happy for Telly. I didn't think at one point he wasn't going to play football again, and the fact that he was allowed to get an extra year eligibility. I think he went with Coach Danson and Coach Kafus down there and contributed on the defensive side of the ball and on special teams. He's one of the special young men that went through this program. He's a great person, so I'm really happy for Telly.
Speaking of Nansen and Kafusi, what have you seen from the defense at Arizona?
The defense is playing really well right now. I think they're a top 20 defense in the country. They're really sound. I think they're really well coached. They tackle well on the defensive side of the ball. They keep the ball in front of them. They don't allow any big plays. There's not, you turn on the big play tape of how many games they played this year. There aren't many. They're really doing a good job of rallying to the football. I think they really understand the scheme, at all three levels, at the front, at the linebacker, and in the secondary, and how they fit, how they work off each other. So it's a really well-coached defense that we're going to face on Saturday.
And what are your thoughts on just Tucson as a place in general to play, whether it be your time here or your time at Oregon?
It's a great college town, I guess. I've never been there, just except to play games. So
right.
It's always been a great environment. The Zona Zug is crazy, bunch of great student section. So we're excited to go play there.
You said you were going to look at the field goal. What happened on the field goal?
We just missed it. So I think the operation was good. We just missed it. So we're going to get that cleaned up.
Are you going to bring the screens back to Tucson?
We haven't talked about that. We don't need them in training sessions here. And as we get towards the end of the week, we go over what our game day routine will be, but we haven't had any conversations about now. Right now, we're just game planning against really good defense and getting ready to play really good offense.
One of the Murphys was a little bit banged up in the game. Did they come out of that okay?
Yeah, no issues with Murphs.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We've asked you obviously a lot about Danson Lynn for good reason, but Ikaika, second year now, and what that pass rush has been able to build on what they did last year. What can you say about the job he's done?
I think Ikaika's done a tremendous job. Taking over the whole front. I think he's a great teacher. You sit in his meetings and get a chance just to watch him teach and communicate with his players. He's a great communicator. He's really, really knowledgeable in the pass rush game. Whether it be individual techniques that individual players are using to beat the one-on-one matchup or to beat the slide protection that's coming to them, or the combination of games with defensive line movements and twists and guys working off of each other. And he's been outstanding. So it's been real pleasant, to get him in here now in year 2 with him. And all those guys up front are in year 2 with him. So, I think that's not a coincidence. I think they have a better feel for Ikaika, and Ikaika has a better feel for them. And they're playing as well as any defensive front in the country right now, and he deserves a lot of credit.
Dan said that was a big reason that he thinks his defense has come forward, that you have the edge rusher and the interior defensive lineman in the same room, getting the same coaching. How much do you think that has helped?
I think it's helped a lot, and I think as a trend in college football is, or just in all football, is to keep that group together and then split your secondary up, is what we did. Because I think the corner position and the safety position, and then when you're playing multiple safeties like we are, there's 3 on the field all the time, that becomes a different position too. So I think Ikaika being able to take the whole front and then bringing Cody in to coach the corners, and then Brian can solely concentrate on the nickels and the dimes and the boundary safety and the free safety, that has really helped us from a coaching standpoint. And I think their ability for the players, especially in the front, to hear the same voice all the time and to be in the same meeting room all the time has been huge.
What did you see out of your running game on film?
I think we were a little inconsistent. There were times when I thought it got blocked up pretty good and we did a good job, but there were some other times when we made some mistakes that we normally don't make. We just have to clean up some of those things so there's more consistent in the running game. And then obviously the ball security issues, we got to just take care of the football. And on the first one, I think Carson did a great job. He was moving into contact, lowered his shoulder, put his second hand on the ball, covered the ball up, and just a heck of a hit by the defense. So, I think sometimes, and that was kind of the deal, you'd get going and you'd pop a big run, but then we got hit to get the ball on the ground. So I think we just need to have more consistency there.
Are your run calls dependent on which running back is in the game at a time?
No. I think that's the beauty of the 4 of them. We don't have, a couple years past, so that's a great question, but a couple years past, you had Zach, but then all of a sudden you're going to Keegan and Cass. There's a difference of 220 to 170. So some of the things schematically may have changed a little bit at times, even though Keegan and Cass can run inside zone and some of those other things. But right now, when you have 4 big backs, all 4 can do or kind of have similar skill sets in terms of what they do, so that there's not a difference. And Deshaun really does a great job of keeping those guys fresh. And I never look up. We don't have, in times we have the ability to call for a formation with a certain back, and we've always been able to do the same thing with a receiver if you want something special. We have not used that tool this year. Like, we haven't said, hey, 11 personnel with this kid at running back, because all of them can do the similar things that's in our game plan. So.
Have you ever had to finish a first half in the first play of the second half before?
No, we actually saw that before the game because obviously the TV was on a lot. I'd never heard of that before. That's a first. There's a lot of firsts in Pac-12 officiating. So that was that's one of many firsts in Pac-12 officiating, but I've never heard of it before. But I guess it's a rule, I don't know. But I guess the controversy, and I don't know if you guys saw it, is the kicker went out and was practicing from that same exact spot for a really long time. Did Justin ice him?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see that. We heard that, and then we went out to pregame warm-up, and I didn't see the results. I heard the kid missed it, but I didn't know that. So he iced him?
Yes, with one of his first half timeouts.
Oh, is that what he had?
So everything carried over then, huh? Yeah, good.
That's interesting. I didn't call just on that. That's smart football right there. But no, I never heard that.
And it just seems like a recent trend, unfortunately, with some of the field storming. Seems like some fans have been taking it upon themselves to go up to opposing players and try to get a reaction out of them. And luckily, the players have been restrained. Have you ever run into an issue with any of that as far as field storming and trying to get your way through a crowd like that?
Have we had field stormings?
Well, just in your coaching career.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about something happened.
No. Well, yeah,
because
because Caleb, Caleb Williams ran into an issue at Notre Dame, and then recently an Oklahoma player had a fan go up to him and try to get a reaction out of him.
Yeah, I have not had in my career. I'm getting off the field. I'm not hanging around. If they storm the field, that means you lost, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any reason. I mean, you always have to go shake and congratulate the other head coach on the other side, and then I'm always looking to make a quick exit, so I haven't run into any issues. So my advice would be just get off the field as quick as you can.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.